All right, just leaving the grocery store. Got done at the gym before that, and today's thoughts. Basically, it's all about the science-based lifting versus the bro science today. It's all the rage. Everybody, has a strong opinion on it, and I do too. But I just can't help but notice that a lot of the science-based lifters, enjoyers of that style of training, a lot of them are just, they're pretty small. And I don't mean that, they don't have any muscle or that they don't look good or aesthetic. I just mean in terms of their body weights. I see so many of these guys that are, 160, 170 pounds, and I'm not talking about guys that are like 5'2", okay? I'm talking about average height gentlemen. And, it just seems that they're all afraid of bulking, right? And a lot of these guys, I see them in the gym, today included, it's like they got their newbie gains, they got a little bit more, and then they've just been spinning their wheels kind of for like the last year or so. And a lot of these guys, I see them every once in a while, I'm like, man, it doesn't seem like they've been, making any progress really. And just an observation, maybe they are, and I just am not seeing it, but it's just something I've observed. It's like they're all afraid of bulking. And, these are all, skinny guys. Like, they've all been skinny their whole life. And it's like, why are you afraid of bulking if you've been skinny your whole life? You don't know anything except for not eating enough. You've been under eating your whole life. And I can relate to that because before I started lifting, I was 145 pounds. I'm 5'11". And, now I'm around 205. And for a long time, I was never really afraid of bulking. I embraced it. And, but it takes a long time to bulk from 145 to 205 and not just get totally fluffy. So, it's been a long process, but it's worked for me. And bulking has been a great thing for me. And I just don't understand why it seems like these science-based guys are all so against or afraid of bulking. It's like, you've been skinny your whole life. You can easily cut after, you hit a point where, you're like, okay, that was a good bulk. I've gotten a little too fluffy. Let's pull it back, do a 10-pound cut or something, and then create that room to get ready to bulk again. And it's like you're not going to have any problem losing weight if you've been a skinny guy your whole life. You just go back to your normal habits, right? The bulking is what's going to be hard for you. You have to constantly think about, okay, what am I eating later? You got to really make sure you're shoveling that food in. And, I got to eat like 4,400 calories at this body weight to maintain my bulk. And, I'm trying to go up to about 220, but it's not really about me so much as just thinking like, there's just no reason to be afraid of bulking. And especially with the science-based guys, it's like the science kind of supports bulking and cutting, honestly. There's a lot of good evidence to suggest that, yes, you lose your muscle fiber volume when you cut. The volume of your muscles decreases, but the muscles retain those myonuclei that are donated from your satellite cells, and so you can regain that muscle way quicker than the first time you built it. It's always easier to build muscle back that you once had, to get that volume back. It's way easier to do that than to build the muscle for the first time. And it just seems like people are just afraid to embrace the bulk. And it really kind of bothers me sometimes when I think about it, because it's just like you're limiting your potential so much by just trying to recomp forever, and I know a lot of these guys that, their goal is more to have an aesthetic look, but at the same time, they're like hypertrophy science bros, and it's like, the whole point of hypertrophy is building muscle, so wouldn't you want to build as much as you can? And maybe they don't. Like, everybody has different goals, and that's completely fine. Who am I to tell somebody what to do, which physique to chase after, but just seems like everybody would like to have more muscle, and if you want to have more muscle, a really great way to do it is to bulk. So, you know, I don't know. It's just been a thought that I've been having. It's just kind of strange that these guys are, you know, kind of avoiding the bulk when really the science seems to support it pretty well, you know. And usually the argument you get from them is that, hey, you know, well, you know, you're going to bulk, and yeah, you'll build some extra muscle during your bulk, but you're just going to lose it all during your cut, and you'll be exactly where you are, or where you were before you started the bulk. And that couldn't be further from the truth, you know, especially, you know, first because of the fact that it's easier to rebuild the muscle that you used to have than it is to build it the first time. But if you've actually bulked and did a mini cut, you know, and you did another bulk, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say that, you know, let's say you're bulking from 170 to 195, you know, your level of strength in your lifts at 180 pounds on the way up to 195 will be at a certain level. But then when you cut from 195 back to 180, and then you start bulking again, when you get to 185 this time, you're going to be stronger this time at 185 than you were the first time. And that should tell you right there that you got a better body composition. You got more muscle and less fat than you did the previous time, which means that you retained some of that muscle that you gained on your first bulk. And, you know, again, that is supported by the science. And, you know, well, we know about these satellite cells donating, you know, the myonuclei to the muscle tissue. So, you know, there's a little freaking bro science for you that actually turned out to be supported by the actual science nerds. So, you know, don't be afraid to bulk, guys. It's really, you're really doing yourself a disservice if you avoid the bulk. You know, and most of you are going to be able to cut no problem. Don't worry about any of that, you know. So just embrace the bulk. It's going to be the best decision you made. Your lifts are going to go way up. That's going to drive your progressive overload. You're going to build the most muscle that you've ever built. And when you cut down, yeah, you're going to lose strength and you're going to lose some size. But as soon as you carb back up and you start eating in a surplus again, you're going to be shocked at how much strength comes back and how quickly it does. And you're going to be stronger and bigger at a lighter body weight than you were. So, you know, just embrace the bulk. Don't be afraid of it. It's going to do you wonders in the long run.